So if you want to know how to make stuffed balloons, these are super cute, y'all. I use my Balloonsy stuffing machine. Follow along and I'll show you how. Okay, so let's get into how to make these little stuffed balloons. So I have got the little Naughty Elf version here. So I'm going to be using my Balloonsy stuffer. Y'all, this is hands down my favorite stuffing machine. I do have this linked in my link in bio. If you want an exclusive promo, you get 25 free Boba balloons, which is a $50 value. So I've already got my balloon inflated in here. I've got the sleeve on. And so again, I've got my little Naughty Elf. So I'm gonna just show you guys how to get the elf in there. You can make this stuffed balloon, and then from there, once you have your stuffed balloon, there are lots of designs that you can create with it, and I'll post some pictures at the end of the video to kind of give you some ideas. So you're gonna need some fishing line. I'm using Omniflex 12 pound. I've got this and my scissors. Most of what I'm using is all linked in my link in bio in my Amazon storefront, or I do just have an exclusive Balloonsy link in my link in bio also. So you're gonna wrap the fishing line around your elf. You want to tie it a good 3 or 4 times so that you know it's good and secure. So I went ahead and tied it around his wrist, but you could also tie it, you know, like around his hat, or if you want it to be, you know, kind of cutesy and hanging upside down, you could hang it by his foot. But and then also in the balloon, in your stuffed balloon, you can put filler in the bottom if you want, you know, like some kind of foil fillers. You can put little latex balloons in there, but I'm actually going to put some of this like fake snow. I got this at, it's called At Home, and I love this stuff because it doesn't make a big mess. Like, it doesn't stick to the elf a whole lot. You know, I've used those little foam, like little popcorn balls before, but I just feel like those are so just messy. So I'm gonna put a whole bag of this in my balloon. And it's just cute. It looks like it's got snow all in the bottom. I like to pour the whole bag. Sometimes I'll even put 2, but I think 1 for there is going to be plenty. And again, if you wanted to add extra balloons, anything like that, you can, but I'm just going to have snow. And then now I'm going to go ahead and stick my elf down in here. And you want to make sure that your fishing line is nice and long. That way, as it's hanging out, you don't have to worry about it being pulled into the balloon. So now I'm going to reinflate my balloon. Every time you stuff it, you want to be sure to reinflate it for about 3 to 5 seconds in case it's lost any air. Otherwise, whenever you go to pull the balloon off, if it's not fully inflated and it doesn't have all that section, it'll deflate and shrink up in there. So I'm going to reinflate it. Okay. So now I'm going to take off this sleeve and just be real careful. Just remember you've got this little fishing line hanging out here. So just make sure that you don't lose it. And then now I'm just going to start removing my balloon from the machine. And I'm going to take half of a 260 to use to close the balloon. If you don't know what a 260 is, these are the little balloons that you use to make like little balloon animals of, but I cut it in half. If you've got the end, I like to snip the end off so that air doesn't get trapped in there. So now my balloon is off of the neck. All of this, you know, like loose part of the balloon. So I'm going to gather it all up in my fingers, and I'm going to twist the whole machine a good, you know, 3, 4, 5 times. And then now I'm going to pull the tab, release the air. And if you want to use the clip, you can to close the balloon. Lately though, I've just been kind of holding it with my hand and switching it to the other hand, and I don't even use the clip. Okay, so now we've got the fishing line hanging out. I've just got the balloon twisted between my fingers. So now I'm going to take this 260, I'm going to tie it off really good, and you've just got to be careful since you've got the fishing line. You don't want to tie it in. So I usually just kind of have to go underneath it. Honestly, you can hold it in your mouth because you're going to cut this part off anyway. So that's honestly what I usually do. So wrap it around 5 or 6 or 7 times. Then now you can double knot it. Now you're going to wrap it around the opposite direction another 5, 6 times. now you're going to double knot it again. Okay, so now that you've got this hanging out, see how my little elf, his hand is not all the way up to the top of the balloon? So now you can pull him all the way up, and now you're going to take this fishing wire. I'm actually going to cut just a little bit off to make it easier to wrap around. But now I'm going to bring you just a little bit closer and show you what to do. So here's the seam of my balloon. My little elf guy is facing forward. And so now I'm going to take my fishing wire and I'm going to wrap it around the balloon. And I've got a little loop here that I just made. So you pull the string through the loop. You're just basically knotting it. But try and do it underneath all of this 260. So I just wrap it around 3 or 4 times, pulling it through that loop every time, and then pull it tight. So this is not only going to keep your balloon more secure, but it also just holds your little elf in place. Or, you know, you can do this if you're putting a teddy bear or whatever, a gift card hanging in there. But always make sure that it's underneath that 260. Then once you have wrapped it around a bunch, now you can, don't cut your 260 off, but cut the fishing wire off, and then we're going to cut this Bobo balloon off. But be real careful that you're not cutting any of the fishing wire. Okay, so I'm going to back you guys back up again. So now we've got our little stuffed balloon, our elves hanging in there. We've got this 260, so there are different things. You know, if you wanted to have like a little cluster of balloons on top, you can use this 260 to kind of figure 8 to keep it on there. But otherwise, I've got nesting boxes like this, all different colors, linked in my Amazon storefront if you want to check those out. But you can put ribbon on there and have like a little acrylic tag. You can set this on here and wrap ribbon around it, and it looks like a little snow globe. You could set this on a quad of balloons, and I even have, I use this spray. It's a spray adhesive, and then I sprinkle this same snow all over like red balloons, and it looks like snowy balloons. There are just tons of things you could do. You could, you know, put a little cluster of balloons on the top and have a fishing wire and just have it, you know, hanging from, you know, the ceiling or something like that. And then it's really cute to print out vinyl, and you can put, you know, special delivery or I'm back or let me out, something cute like that. So for my vinyl, I have the Cricut Explore 3, but all of this stuff, you know, in my craft room, all that I'm using for this, it's all linked in my Amazon storefront. Again, I will post some pictures after this video that kind of show you guys some ideas, but let me know any questions you have and follow for more tips and tutorials.